had a home inspection yesterday for a house that my buyer has ratified on. And during the home inspection, my home inspector was just having a great conversation with my client. And it got me to thinking, does your transaction team make you look awesome, or do they make you look unprofessional? Let's find out. What's good? My name is Sean Slaughter, real estate agent and investor, and my mission is to help new real estate agents level up. Your team. I'm not talking about a team that you're leading full of buyers, agents, and you have a team at your brokerage. I'm not talking about that type of team. I'm talking about the team that when your client ratifies a contract, this team kicks into action to make that transaction as smooth as possible. If you have the wrong team, your client can walk away feeling like you don't know what you're talking about, that you've lied to them, that you're unprofessional. But with the right team, your client will walk away feeling like, man, that was a fantastic experience. I liked all the people that I had to deal with as far as this transaction is concerned. And if I had to recommend, this agent, I'm going to recommend this agent again. So I'm going to list just a few pieces of this, what I call my transaction team. And hopefully you guys will begin to develop your own fantastic transaction team to make sure that your clients are well taken care of. Now, first and foremost, most of these pieces I'm going to talk about typically deal with transactions with your clients as buyers. Secondly, you may not know where to even find some of these folks at. It's trial and error. When you first join your brokerage, they're going to have a lender that they prefer to use. They're going to have a title and escrow that they prefer to use. Go ahead and use them. Try them out. Then as you start doing real estate, you'll meet other teams from other agents. You'll meet their lenders. You'll meet their transaction coordinators. You'll meet their title and escrow people. And you might find, man, this was a really nice transaction. Like, this transaction was smooth. I like the communication. I like the personality of this person. And so you'll begin to test out other teams as you do real estate, within your first year, your second year. My broker does not force us or require us to use the lender and the escrow agent. And even if they did, to be very honest, I'm a 1099. I'm an independent contractor. So as much as I support my broker, I need to make sure that if I'm going to do well by my broker, I'm closing transactions. And part of closing transactions is making sure that I have a solid team. So build your team and don't depend on anybody else to build that team for you. First and foremost, mortgage lender. When you first start working with your client, one of the first things that you're going to ask or get around to is their pre-approval. Do they have a pre-approval letter? If they don't have a pre-approval letter, then you're going to ask, do you have a bank or mortgage lender that you use that you're going to get pre-approved with? Now, I always suggest to my clients that they use a local mortgage lender, not a bank. All right, not a Wells Fargo or Bank of America. Many times, the working hours, the response, and just the amount of clientele that these banks deal with, it does not allow your client to have the best service. Plus, I like a mortgage lender that is nimble, particularly the loan officer. I like somebody that's nimble, somebody that I can contact on the weekend, somebody that I can contact 8 o'clock at night. And the lender that I work with is like that. He's part of my team. So that's one of the reasons I like him. He's a hustler. I remember showing a guy a house, and he had a pre-approval from like Quicken Loans or Rocket Mortgage or one of those national brands or whatever. It was a Saturday morning. He needed his pre-approval amount bumped up. But because it was Saturday and his loan officer only worked from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, we had to wait until Monday for him to call to get his pre-approval. And guess what? By the time Monday came, that house was gone. Now, if he had used my mortgage lender, I could have called my lender right then and there, and we would have had that pre-approval the same day. So what do I need from my mortgage lender? Number one, I need them to be available. That's number one. Number two, I need them to be highly skilled. Don't give a pre-qualification letter to somebody that is not qualified or may be on the border. I would rather you say, hey, look, do this, pay this down, so on and so forth. Let's wait a couple of weeks and revisit this. Because I've been on the other end where somebody's been pre-qualified and then we got to a week before closing and that loan did not get approved and we had to get out of that transaction. It's not a good feeling. I also want them to be coaches. Coach my people. See, if you have your client coming to you all the time, asking you mortgage questions, it's not a good thing. They should be comfortable enough with the mortgage lender to talk to the mortgage lender. Ask them questions. You want somebody that's not just telling them what to do, but why they're doing it. The why is important. When people know why, they feel more comfortable. They feel, this whole transaction thing can be complicated, and you want to tell them why this is happening just so that they have more of a peace and an ease of mind. Number 2, title and escrow. When I talk about the mortgage lender or the title and escrow, choose a company, but then find an officer, find an escrow agent that you like working with. You like their personality, they're skilled, they're available, and they like to coach. The escrow agent that I use, or some people use lawyers, which is fine as well, but the escrow agent that I use is very personable. Again, I can text her on the weekends. I can text her at night. If there's issues, she's gonna give me all the behind the scenes. She's not gonna necessarily hide any information. She's gonna reach out to the other side if I need her to say, hey, what is actually going on with this transaction? Somebody that you almost feel like you have an inside man, you have an inside woman within that organization, and they have great personality. These people are people that I feel like I can have a beer with, right? I can go and sit down and have dinner with. These are the type of relationships that you're looking for when it comes to your lender and your escrow agent. Number 3, your home inspector. So I use a home inspection company, and there's a particular inspector that I always request. Why do I always request him? Number 1, he's extremely knowledgeable. He coaches and teaches. And just like I started this conversation, I'm doing a home inspection, and him and my client are just having a fantastic conversation. It was awesome because I introduced my client to another professional who is not only professional, but personable, skilled, is coaching and teaching my client exactly what to look for, is available if I need them, if I have questions. These are the things that you want. And when your clients are meeting these people and meeting these pieces, it makes them feel more comfortable, and you become a trustworthy resource to your client. Because remember, like I always tell you guys, stop acting like salesmen and begin acting like guides and coaches. You are guiding and coaching your client through this process. But another thing that you are is a resource. And you want to make sure, imagine you tell somebody to go to a restaurant and it's a bad restaurant. They're not going to ask you for a recommendation again. But if all the different resources that you're recommending are right on point, you're gonna look like gold. Number 4 on my team, my transaction team, a handyman. A good handyman is invaluable. So when you have just different things, I had a transaction where it was a home that had a first floor and a second floor, and the second floor was just the primary bedroom. Downstairs was the living room, and it had very, very high ceilings and all the other bedrooms and kitchens and stuff like that. The primary bedroom had a window that overlooked the living room, but it was open. It was like a window that wasn't to the outside. It was a window that was into the living room. So if you were downstairs making noise, or if you was upstairs, you wanted privacy, you can look through that window. And so we needed somebody to put up, some shutters. Call my handyman. These people I can call, I can put them in contact with my client, and I don't have to worry they're gonna screw something up or piss my client off. Called my client, gave him a reasonable price, went and made it happen. I mean, it really went very, very well, and my client was very pleased. And remember, if you have to use a licensed contractor, that's different. You definitely want to find yourself some licensed contractors for electrical and roofing and plumbing and things like that. But if you have just little things that need a handyman to knock out really quick, handyman could really come in handy. Ding. Number 5, a transaction coordinator. Now, this may be your first year doing real estate, and you're like, Sean, I don't have enough deals to have a transaction coordinator. I just want to put this bug in your brain right now. I just got me a transaction coordinator. I have done 2 transactions with her. Fantastic, night and day. The amount of just mental stress that I don't have to deal with when it comes to all the paperwork and the minutia and the emailing. Of course, I'm CC'd on everything. We have a shared folder. So we develop a system so I know exactly what's going on, and I can check in and make sure that all the documents there and so on and so forth. But just the amount of little details that I don't need to necessarily be emailing back and forth. Why? Because my goal is to get leads. My goal is to produce income, right? Do income producing activities and to get leads. That's my job. If I can not have to email documents back and forth or make a phone call or set up a home inspection, if I can have somebody else do that, it is wonderful. Additionally, if you're somebody that's saying, man, I want to do real estate and I want to become a broker or I want to start a team, you're going to need a transaction coordinator. So I would say, after your first year, get the process under your belt, learn real estate, go through a couple of transactions, and then maybe within your second year, if you feel like you're ready, get a transaction coordinator. I hired a family friend who is young but has run businesses before, like done administration and managed like a hair salon and stuff like that. So she was good with handling details. You definitely want somebody who is organized, detail oriented. Particularly if you're not a detail oriented person, then you may need a transaction coordinator sooner than later, because it just makes you, again, gives you another level, another air of professionalism, like you know what you're doing. And last but not least, an ISA. Now, an ISA is an inside sales assistant, and most brokerages have these. And basically what they're doing is they're following up on leads. Now, I don't have an ISA, but when it's time to hire again, an inside sales assistant is going to be what I hire. Somebody that can follow up on leads, that can follow up on cold leads, follow up on my warm leads, just continually be in contact with those leads. Now, again, for your first year, probably your second or even third year in real estate, you're probably not going to have an ISA. But it is something that you should consider if you want to start a brokerage or you want to start a sales team, or if you're somebody that has high volume. I read something last night that said, basically, when you're doing about 40 transactions a year, you are right at that point where you need a transaction coordinator and probably an ISA. Even before 40 transactions a year, I did 19 last year, and this year my goal was 25, and I'm on track to hit that. And so I went ahead and just got me a transaction coordinator. When I get to about 40, that's probably going to be the time, because that's 40 transactions a year. If you think about 52 weeks in a year, that's almost a transaction a week. And so at that point, yeah, it's time to start getting an ISA, and it may be even time to start bringing in a buyer's agent, but that's a whole another conversation. And you can even use, if you got a sibling who can speak well and, who knows how to conversate with people, you may even want to use them as a sales assistant to just follow up on leads and call and get information, so that you're not always, spinning your plates on, does this person want to buy or sell? That sales assistant can let you know which leads are actual leads and which ones are time wasters. All right, folks, well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I try to give you 2 videos every single week. 2 weeks ago, I was in Las Vegas for a real estate conference, and so I can only crank out 1 video that week. No excuses, but I can only crank out 1 video that week. And then last week I had COVID, and it just felt like the mild flu. And but thank God, me and my family are safe. But I was able to crank out another video last week. And so I'm back on my 2 video a week hustle. Please comment below. How are you finding your team? What are the most important parts of your team? What are the struggles that you're having in finding a team? Drop the comments below. Is there anything that you would like me to talk about? Put it in the comments below and I will be happy to talk about it. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and karate chop that bell. This is the House of Motivation, the place where inspiration lives.